All right, Module 2, Tutorial B, we are going to build an interactive hotspot infographic. Now, while this is maybe more something for Module 2, I just thought Genially is a builder to show you kind of using these builders and some hardships you can face when using these builders. Other ones we'll use in this class, or you might even use for this section, is Flourish is probably a good one. Maybe even the Night Lab stuff. So anyway, log into Genially and you'll see this, which we could start here from a blank thing. I prefer to go to the content section because then you'll see any of your work. I've scrubbed all all I've been doing is this particular tutorial in this. I'll go up to create a thing and we'll create a blank creation. Okay, and we'll give it a second to load that up in its editor. So when it first opens up, we get some choices of size, but we could change that later. Let's go to, the first thing we need is the background image. So let's go to Insert. Here you'll see all these options, but we want image. We want an image from a device. Let's find just our background.jpg, and notice there's a second background. Let's ignore that for a second. And here we go. It puts in. Now, here's the thing, right? We should know what's going on with our sizing. We shouldn't just build something and not know what's going to happen with our sizing. So if we come over to tilde, since we know this is tilde has like kind of a grid system, we'd have to know what that measurement is. So if we come here, you will see that a grid system is actually, it's 1200, but it's 1160 of content with 20 pixels of margin on each side. So notice how I'm doing this here. So I want to build my visualization pretty much optimized for that 1160 because that's going to go in my grid, unless I wanted to make it full width, which we could too, but we're not going to. So I actually already created this image so that it's optimized for that. But let's change our canvas size. So let's go to resize. We'll go to custom. We're going to turn off maintain proportions because by default Genially wants a 16 by 9, or unless you click one of these. So we're going to do 1160. And now this image I prepped to be a 4 by 3 aspect ratio. So that makes it 870 over here. And then I'll click back on maintain proportions because I want it to stay that way. Click here. So now we just need to go ahead and fill our thing. And like I said, I've already prepped the image, so I know it is of the proper resolution. It's even a little more resolution than we need because that's just good technique. Okay, so there's our background image and it's set in and I'm filling my canvas. So the next question is okay, how do we add our interactivity, our text and stuff? So let's go to interactive elements. So here you'll see we've got some options, this window, this tooltip, this audio. So let's try tooltip first, right? Now let's go to our information here. Let's bring up our information. And so let's pretend we're going to make a tooltip for the feeding a young. I'm just going to grab everything here, cut and paste, and bring it in. Now notice, right, you've exceeded the numbers of characters for optimal view, right? Tooltips are technically for small text. So let's just cancel that out. We're not going to use a tooltip here. We're going to use a window. Let me go over here, right? So let's throw in a window. Now it gives you some options for some pre-made layouts, and sure, you could use those if you want, but let's go ahead and use a blank window and say, yes, let's use that. Okay, so it comes up and we have this, let's actually hit done editing to see what it has. So it's got a clickable area. So I'm going to go in and I'm actually going to remove this text. I'm going to, now here's the thing, right? If you click one thing, it's grouped. So you got to click a second time. And I'm just going to try to make this into a round button. As a matter of fact, let me zoom in here a little bit so that I can see that it looks good and round. There we go. Why don't I also, black is not going to be readable there, so let's click down and make sure we have the button, get the color, and let's use this yellow color, right? I think that'll do it. I think I want the icon to be black, so let's do that. There we go. Perfection. So now I'm going to zoom back out because I want to be working at the real size that I'll see this visualization. Let me click that to get rid of that. I'm going to click on this and you'll see this window. That's how we edit the window. So we click on the window. Now, I'm going to be honest, it's going to need to be resized for all the information we have. So I'm just going to go ahead and click unlock. I'm going to go over here, click unlock on that. I'm going to shift click on both of these, and I'm going to go ahead and make this window pretty much take the full window of the thing. I think that's going to help us out, right, for putting in our content. All right, so what content do we have for this? Well, we have a title, nesting and feeding young. Okay, so we don't want to just start putting any text in, right? Let's put in a title. Sure, nesting and feeding young. Now that is way too big. 82 is too big. Let's go down to there. Let's put that bold. So 24, sure. I think that's good. I'm going to go ahead and, I'm just going to leave it right here for a second because you know what? I think the next thing I want is the video. We're going to have a video for this one. So let's go, whoops, I accidentally clicked off that. Yeah, go ahead and edit it. We need a video. We need to insert a video. So let's go look at where we're inserting our video. I have the video. Where did I put the video? Well, let's just copy it from right here. This is where I'm looking for, because it's going to be a YouTube video. Actually, down here, I have the link and I have an embed if we needed to use an embed, but let's go ahead and I know Genially will let you put in a link to a video. So I'm going back to insert, I'm finding video, upload video, right? We need it from, like, see, look, it won't let us, without a paid plan, host a video from their service, but that's okay. We're hosting it. This is a little bit of inception, right? We're hosting an embedded resource. We're embedding a hosted resource into an embedded hosted builder, right? So great. We put that in there. I'm going to resize it to about this size, which then makes me think I'm going to, right, again, just for design, right, appearance, I'm going to put this here, try to keep the same kind of padding inside this box. Grab everything, move it so it's centered there, kind of make sure it's got the same margin from the edges. There we are. Perfect. Nesting and feeding your young. Actually, when we had the video first up, and if I double click it, right, it brings up these things. We see we can make it autoplay, loop, things like that. We probably don't want any of those things, so let's leave that there. I keep clicking off it. All right, so now I need to get my information in. So I see this is some, whoops, I'm on the wrong spot, right? So we need right here, wood thrushes, blah, blah, blah. So I'm gonna grab that text. If you just go to here and hit Command V, it's gonna go paste it in as a normal text element. That's great. I'm gonna just make it align to all the rest of the stuff. I also think that's a little tight on line spacing, so I'll go up here and I'll just add a little more line spacing. 1.5 is good, right? And font size 20, I think that is perfection. So let's go ahead and leave that there. I think we can go to 16. The last thing we need is, right, we need to attribute our video. So I'm going to come out here, grab this text, paste it in, bring it, kind of same deal. Get it all aligned. This one I'm not going to worry about line spacing as much. I am going to bring this font size down. I'm going to bring it down to 12 just to be a real small aside here. So now I could customize the size here to fit the content, so maybe I will. And then I'll just grab everything and center it as much as I can. There we go. I want it to give me those centering lines. Okay, great. We have our first window. We'll hit done editing. So let's try it out. Let's go up to our little preview, right? And then when I click this, hey, look at that. We got that. Beautiful. All right, editing. And now it's as easy as just making our next 4 areas, right? So let's go down to foraging. I'm going to put it right there. I'm going to go to window. So what's good is I just held option to just duplicate, right? All software, you hold option and drag out an item, you duplicate it. That makes your life so much easier. So we'll find the foraging one, right? So our title is going to be foraging in leaf litter. Oh, why did it? Stop. I'm gonna hit, it won't let me paste it with keeping the style here. So I have to go and push bold back in. That's a pain. I'm gonna go here and grab all of this content and paste it in there. Uh-oh, we're starting to get pretty big, but guess what? We're not gonna need that. but we are going to put in an image, right? So let's find an image. Let's go to Insert, Upload Image, From Device. We want food, because that's what they're foraging for. Give it a second to put it in. After it uploads it, there we go. Let's bring this bad boy up here. Let's bring this here. So we see we're going to have to wind up trying to take up the full space here. So I'm going to bring this up as high as I can get it. I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to find my thing here. Okay, let's look at this stuff. We need to format this. This is really unreadable. I'm going to click this here. Let's make these into a bulleted list. There we go. And let's actually even just bold our little things here. Let's take 2 seconds to do this. Boom. Right? Make it scannable. There. Okay. Now the last problem I have is that it's just not very readable for line height. So let's go up here. Uh-oh, it kind of sets all the line height there. So you could potentially let's make that smaller, right? Make it a second text box. I'm just going to go ahead and do that. There we go. Oh, and we need to get our citation. Now this one is the illustration. I generated it with ChatGPT, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in. That actually gains us some space too, because it's a smaller thing, but we'll just go ahead and leave it like that. There we go. Perfect. I've got that. I'm done editing that one. I'm going to go back to our original one. Go over here to the bird singing. Go to Window, Edit. Okay. So let's see what we're doing with this one. We're going to find singing. So we'll just put song. I can just type that in, and then I don't have to deal with changing it to bold. I'm going to find this text. I'm going to just put that in there. I'm going to find our audio stuff right there. Okay, so get rid of my thing. I need to insert audio. So I'm still in insert. I've got audio, upload audio. Uh-oh, so now from device it doesn't let me upload it via link URL. Okay, so again, just like YouTube hosts things, some of these audio things host. So I'm going to grab that. I'm going to I'm going to go into my text here because I have it down at the bottom. And so where is the link? Well, this is the link technically. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab this. I didn't put it in separately. And paste that link there and say add. Uh-oh. It says they've been uploaded correctly, but they really haven't. It's something weird. I don't know what's going on there. So we can't use that for audio for whatever reason. I think it's just Zeno Canto, where I'm getting the bird things, don't actually host it that way. So let's go to others. So others is where we can put in an embed code, which we're going to have to, start to use in these things. So let's get to our audio embed, which is all this code right here, this iframe. Paste that right there, insert, and there it is. So we'll go ahead and resize it a little bit. Let's make it bigger. I guess it doesn't resize because it's an embed. I'm going to put this up here, this up here. I'm going to even control the size of this stuff. Right, I'm going to grab everything. I like to have everything centered on the visualization. There we go. Done editing. And our last one, right, we're going to talk about nocturnal flight. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy our thing with an option drag. Get rid of that. We're going to call this migration. I'm going to go find my actual text here. We've got these two things here, so let's put that in the text. Let's put a return there. I don't like using returns. But these builders, you're kind of stuck doing that, right? You should use margin after technically in code. And I'm going to grab that and put that in there. And I'm going to bring in my image, right? Image, upload image, from device. Range map, open, give it a second to put it in. Okay, pretty big. So let's just grab everything. Let's get as much room as we can. Let's make this as big as we can. We're gonna have to still resize this, but let's set our text first so we see how much room we have with our image. Pretty good, right? There we go. Perfection, right? right? So there it is. We've got our migration, right? Because it's about nocturnal flight. That's why it looks that way. Done editing. Totally. So now we can go ahead and just try it out, right? And now we see, hey, look, awesome, right? We got all those things there. Okay, now we got to go through our checklist. Let's go back to editing mode. Editing mode. Just turn that off so we can see it. Okay, so appearance is great. What about our attendant text? Guess what? We're going to put that in tilde because we're going to embed this. And so we might as well just use this only for the interactive part of that. The next part, right, is let's skip all devices and let's go to accessibility. How do we make this accessible? Well, you're going to have to like just try to embed it and check it, but we can look what it has. So I see this in here, accessibility. Really, this is just about reading order, which reading order matters. You know, we could go to here actually and start hitting our tab button, and it actually worked last time I did it. I think maybe we actually have to see it. So this is one where I might embed it until the first to test it, but actually, I know I tested this. That keyboard focus actually worked. I'm just having a hard time with it getting it out for me. So, you know, other things, can we change like the you know, use the right tags here? I don't really see a way. We're kind of at the thing. I know I read something in here about it. I know there is a page on Genially accessibility, right? So here we go, right? So we can see it does. Actually, let's look at this one's more a documentation link right here. Right, we could go ahead and somewhere I saw in here, right? Definitely alt text. Okay, so we definitely want to do alt text. That's one thing that we should definitely do. So let's go back here and try to figure out our alt text. So I've got this image here. I'm going to just double click on it and see what it gives me. Now, okay, so how do I put in alt text? I'm going to click on that again and see if it does anything. Zoom in, zoom out, flip vertically, X. Well, there's got to be a way to put in alt text here. I'm going to control click on the image. There it is, add alt text. So what I did is, so if you're on the computers, you'll control click, right? How did I get that? I don't even know how I got that. I got that with a 2-finger click. Oh, let's go down here, actually. More. There we go. That's how we get that up, right? More. Add alt text, right? And we'll say this is a composited infographic of wood thrush in their habitat. It shows 4 wood thrush, 1 on nest, 1 foraging, 1 singing, 1 flying. Right? So look, I'm above the, I'm above here. So I'm going to go ahead and just take some, it looks like it limits me to 125, whatever. It shows 4 birds. Shows 4. Okay, there we go. Save. Alt text, create and save. And of course, we'd have to go in and do the same for all of our stuff here, right? So here, maybe it probably doesn't give alt text for this, right? So we don't have alt text for that. We'll go back out, go here, edit the window, edit, image, 3 buttons, add alt text, beetles, ants, caterpillars, earthworms, spiders, millipedes, snails, right? Caterpillars, right? That's good enough. Alt text created. Get out of that. Go to this one. What do we have here? Edit. Does this have any kind of alt text? It does not, so we don't have to do that one. And our last one here, oops, window, right? So this one we do have, right? We will have alt text, add alt text, range map of wood thrush. All right, there we go. Great. So now we have perfection there as far as this. Okay, so we're pretty much done, but are we? Let's go ahead and move it over to Tilda, and let's see how that process works, okay? So first, let's grab ourselves the embed code, right? So we'll go down here, we'll go to share, see all, we'll find the iframe, we'll copy it, there we go, and we'll mosey over to our Tilda page. So we'll go ahead and add. And so what do we have to add? We actually have to add, whoops, what did I do there? An HTML element. Now you could go down to other and find it there. You can just go up to this, I usually just go up here and type in HTML and find that. Then, so this is our custom HTML block. So we'll go to content and we'll just hit Command V and paste our thing in, hit save and close. Now here's the thing with Tilda, it doesn't actually preview any custom code. You actually have to publish, which is a pain. So if you were going to be building like a live page, you'd probably want to make a staging page and then copy and paste it from that page. But let's just go to publish. Let's open the page, right? And we'll see it come in a second. It's coming. It's a coming at some point. That's a slow load. Let's give it a page refresh just in case. Let's see if that helps. There it is. Okay, so here's our image, right? Our thing. And, well, here's the thing. It comes in at full width, which is cool. Like, we might have wanted to make it full width instead of the 1160. You just got to be aware, no matter what, you're probably going to want to, at some point, put in a max width, right? That it won't go bigger then because of that. But there's a weird thing about, notice what happens when it's full width. Everything gets really big. So that's a little cute to how Genially is going to work responsibly, and we're going to go address that in a second. But let me close this, and let's go back here. Let's add a little code to constrain that. So let's go to content. So up here, right, this is, you're going to have to always learn a little bit of code to work in the interactive world, right? So we see this width 100%. Ooh, how do I get over here? Right, so let's go ahead and change that. Let's change that to max.width, and let's change it to 1160 pixels. Now that'll be 1160 pixels, but it'll be on the left side of our screen. So we have to add one more thing after this semicolon. I'm going to say margin colon 0 space auto semicolon. I should say semicolon, not colon. Right? So this is going to basically center our div. So max width 1160, margin 0 auto, save and close, publish, open page. All right, there it is. It's set at 1160. It's how we designed it, right? It's there. We must be seeing it in Genially just a little smaller than it is, right? So that is smaller. Even though it says it's at 100%, there's no way this is 1160. I kind of had a feeling about that as we were building it. So oops, that's the old version. Here it is, right? So that's another thing. When you're working with a builder, you don't know what your scale is and things like that. Okay, so what do we need? We need a tendon text. Let's stop and do that in Tilda. So for this, we can go ahead and put in another block. So I'm going to add a block. I'm going to find, whoops, titles. I want a small title. So here's small title right here. There we go. I'm going to call this, right, wood thrush habits. Well, let's go to my text here. I already have some stuff. We're going to put these two paragraphs in. So I'll go ahead and just do that. Let's go into settings real quick. So we wanted to go to that column there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that so that it aligns on the left side of our grid. I don't need to change the typography. I am going to, I'm going to leave that padding there. Hit save. And then we need to have a citation for our main background image. We probably also need citation for our information, which did I put in here? I actually didn't. So we're going to put in information summarized from Cornell Lab of ornithology, and I'll put that in the icon. So I'm just gonna actually just grab both of these pieces, go down here. I'm going to put some text. I'll put small text, sounds good to me. Put that there. I'm gonna go to settings. Settings. I'm going to just throw you over to the right. I don't really care about that. I'm going to get rid of any top padding. I want it to like adhere as much as possible to that. Let's see, what else do I want here? These are kind of far away. Let's go to typography, show more settings. Okay, well, we'll just go ahead and save and close and see what's in the content section here. I just want it to right align. How do I right align it? Okay, let's go back into settings. It is got to be somewhere in here to right align it. Typography. Where's alignment? Did I miss it? Lighting. There has to be a way to right align this text. Maybe it's a different block I need. I don't want any animation. Well, we might have to go find a different one that right aligns it. That's a little weird. I don't know why it just doesn't let me just right align it. Oh, that's a space. That's where that is. So let's get rid of that. So maybe we'd have to change this block to a different block. It's not right aligning it. I'm not going to complain about that because I don't feel like fooling around with it. Let's go to publish. Open our page. And look, we've got this nice thing here. Again, this drives me crazy. We probably have to go use a different block, but I don't care about that. For your projects, always make sure everything's nice. All right, that's cool. But what about, like, let's test it for responsiveness. So I'm going to go into the kind of the viewer responsiveness. You can just resize your browser if you want, right? So I'm going to start doing great. Let me click on this. You know, notice what it's doing. It's scaling things. So let's get all the way down to like a real mobile size, 375. Uh-oh. That is unreadable. That is too small, right? Not to mention, you know, it just doesn't use the space right. So what do we do for responsiveness? Let's go jump back over to this. Where's responsiveness in here? Guess what? It only has that scaling. So how do we make this work on mobile? And the answer for Genially, which may not be the answer for other builders, which may do better jobs at responsive, is to build a second version of this just optimized for mobile. Bummer, right? So let's close this. Do we just have to do anything? We don't have to save anything. Let's just go back to our dashboard here. I'll close this one so that I don't mistake which one I have. And I'll close that. Okay. So instead of creating a whole new one from scratch, let's just start with what we already built. So I'm going to go up here to options and I'm going to say duplicate. And I'm going to go into edit. Maybe this is the name of, okay. Notice it had info here. So I'm just going to call this, oh my God, wood thrush. Mobile, you could do the same, you know, for the other one to call it wood thrush. So anyhow, what do we need to do? Well, the first thing we need to do is go to resize, and let's go to a mobile size. Let's actually use 9:16. So the first thing we need is let's get rid of that image. We're not going to need that. So we need a new image, insert, upload image from device. This time we want background mobile because I've made a mobile version. It's going to put it in. Okay. Now notice it is above our one of those things. So we're going to need to figure out how to send it to the back. So let's, once we did that, let's go to these three dots. Is there order? Put in order. Send to the back. There we go. So now we have, I'm going to leave these buttons the sizes they are because we don't really want, we want tappable, clickable things. So which one is this one? Let's see. This one is the nesting and feeding young. So let's move this one over to nesting, feeding young. We'll put it right here. We'll go to window. We'll edit it. And now it's a matter of kind of resizing everything. So I'm actually going to just grab everything and just naturally try to resize it to the size here. It looks like it's going to take a little more work. So I'm going to go here. Let's go. Let's make it back to 24. Actually, yeah, let's make it 24. It's fine. these things, move them out of the way. Nesting and feeding young. I don't like how small that is. I'm going to make that bigger. Now you're going to have to do that same thing on the other thing, so I might note what size it is. Same here. Well, let's bring this down. Let's make this at least 16. Let's make it 20. Whoa, too much. We're going to have to make it 16, right? And this one, let's bring it back up to 12. There we are. So perfect. That's a pretty good, looks pretty good to me. You know, just make sure your alignment is still back to good. Let's maybe go ahead and get the centering going on here. Let's use my arrow keys to fix that up a little. Great. So that is perfect. Maybe I could have put more space here, but I'm okay. Done editing. And then we have to do the same with the next one, right? So this one is, which one is this one? This is song, so that's the right one. I'm going to put that bad boy right here. Edit the window, edit it. And it's the same thing as last time, right? So same setup. Just try to get it to be in here, the right size. Let's go make this a little bigger so it's clickable, right? We're going to go here, tell it to make it 24. This one we're going to make bigger. This we'll put down here and make it 12. This one will make it back to 16. Whoops, that is 12, Kevin. 16, that is 167. Boy, I'm having real typing issues. Right, there's not much we can do with this thing right here. We're just going to go ahead and open it and make sure it sets in as good as it does. Again, just rearrange for space, right? We want to make sure we have some space. So let's do that. Oops, grab that. Remember, Command Z is your friend. There we go. And once again, I'm going to go ahead and try to center it to everything here. There we go. Then I am, where's the other ones? Here we go. This one's down here. This one is foraging. So we'll again, we just set these up. So just, I'm going to real quick go through this without even talking. Uh-oh. Well, I guess I do have to talk, because guess what? This one has too much content. There's no way we're going to fit this content. So what do we do for this? Well, that's a good question. We theoretically should be able to use overflow. I don't think it lets us use overflow in Genially, right? If I was coding this, I would have this overflow. Yeah, it won't let me size this down or make any kind of overflow. Let's see if we can go in here. Accessibility. What does that mean? Let's click on that. Type of text. Oh, here's where we could have done this. So I just found the accessibility thing that I hadn't found last time I was using this. But let's go ahead here to this thing here. Doesn't look like I have any way to do that. So you're going to have to figure it out. For this one, since, you know, I don't like having different information on mobile versus desktop, but because of Genially, it's a trade-off, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave it at the let them seeing the images here. Try to make it as big as I can, right? Put these things back. Great, good enough. Done editing. My last one's off to the side. Window, edit, same things. Let's actually go back to accessibility in a moment here. Let me just go ahead and make this a little bigger. Okay. So I didn't do as good a job there. There we go. That's a lot of thing there. 16. Same thing. We just don't have the room here. You know, we could futz it. Can we do 14? I'm just going to remove the second paragraph. I don't like doing things like this. I think it should be the same thing, but maybe you're just going to have to for Genially, right? So I'm going to leave that image small. before. I actually had more room. I don't know why I took so much out, but that's okay. Let's make the image bigger. There we go. Okay, great. So now I have a mobile version. So before I go put this in Tilda to show you how to do this, let's address accessibility a little bit now that I'm thinking about it. Because you do have, if we click here, right, that's reading order, that's nothing. There are some other things to help. If you go to preferences, you'll see you can enable zoom here. Let's turn off these things. Enable full screen, yes. Allow sharing, let's turn that off, right? So let's enable full screen, let's enable zoom. Those things might help us with accessibility a little bit with getting people to make things bigger. So if we click on that, we'll see now that we have like the ability to do like zoom in here, and then it would do that. I don't see any, where's there a button to make it full screen? I don't see that, but that's okay, that's good. And we should go do that for the main graphic as well. And if we make those, oh, okay, actually, let's do this. Well, first of all, let's go up to share, save, iframe, copy. Let's go back to our thing here. Now, with these host embed builders, right, we just, whenever we make changes, it will make changes to our main one. So let's remember in our thing right here, right now we don't, oh, we see the full screen one. So that's full screen. So how come I didn't see that on the other one? Well, let's go to our, maybe I flipped the thing. Let's go back to our original one. Right, let's go to this one. First of all, it's driving me crazy. I'm going to call this wood brush. And then I'm going to go up here and I'm going to go to preferences. Enable full screen. Let's get rid of these ones. Enable zoom. There we go. So now that one will be changed when we go here. So now when I flip it, right, you'll see now we have the full screen, we have the zoom things. Great. Okay, so now we need to, let's close our open versions here of this page. Let's go into our editor for Tilda. Okay, so I'm going to add another thing below. I'm going to go find an HTML block. I'm going to edit its content. I'm going to paste in that. This one I am going to leave at right with 100%. That's going to work great for this one. So we'll hit save. Okay, so now if I was to just publish this right now, the problem is that I would still see this version on desktop, and it would be this giant version too, because it would be 100%. So what we need to do is change our settings in Tilda to hide and show different versions. So I'm going to go ahead and say, let's only show this one when we're above actually no, let's only show this one when we're above 480 pixels, and I'll hit save. And this version, let's go to settings, let's only show this one when it's below 480 pixels, hit save. Let's hit publish. Let's open our page, right? And so now we see our wood thrush, and I'm just going to resize my browser, my browser, right? So look here, we're zooming in. Now, do we maybe need to make a version for tablet? And the question is maybe, right? But look, oh, look at that. When I come here, look, I've got this, and it comes in this way. I can go to full screen, I can do whatever. So this one does seem to have some space on the side for whatever reason. So we could go ahead and try to troubleshoot that. I think it's probably easier just to look at what's going on here. We don't want this. Let's find our iframe. There's our iframe. So it looks like our iframe, no, it looks like something inside of the iframe has space maybe. Just generally putting in some stuff. Well, okay, let's go take a look at the code here. Close. Let's go to content. So we do see padding bottom, margin, height. Let's just see what happens if we just go ahead and say margin 0, save and close, publish, open page. Go into my small size. So that didn't work. So if we didn't want that space here, we'd have to figure out what it is. I'm not going to make us do it right now. I'm sure it's just about removing some kind of margin or padding somewhere, because that's how you put space in. I don't mind it that way though. So, it's something we could probably find out. Maybe Genially has it in here. So if we go ahead and go into mobile, well, I'm not going to make you watch on the video do this, right? So that's it. That is putting our thing in. And so, I don't know why you're taking so long. That is using a hosted embed builder.